This new study on narcissists will change everything you thought you knew. You will be stunned by what research has just learned about narcissists. Get ready for what may be one of the most startling discoveries regarding narcissism. Science has recognized that it includes a demonic component. Yes, you heard correctly. This may give you the impression that narcissism will finally be shown for what it is, but wait, that is not the case. Actually, you are the focus of this condition, not the narcissist. Are you familiar with the concept of demon face syndrome? That's the shorthand for it, while prosopagnomorphopsia is the name used in clinical settings. You might think that when you hear the term demon face syndrome, it will explain why a narcissist's face appears to change into something ominous when they're angry or when their relationship is failing. I am certain that I did. However, after delving into the study, I was astounded to learn that this condition is about you, not them. It turns out that the one who is being classified as unstable is actually you and not the narcissist. Let's examine the reasons behind that. Tell a therapist or counselor who isn't familiar with narcissistic abuse, "Doctor, I saw an evil face in my spouse or partner towards the end of my relationship." What was that? Am I going crazy? No, you're not imagining things. That's who they really are won't be the answer. Rather, they will probably give you a diagnosis similar to demon face syndrome. They may claim that you are having a psychotic episode, have a psychological problem, or are delusional. That is the height of victim blaming, isn't it? Both you and I are aware of narcissism's darker, dangerous side. Numerous other people have also experienced the same thing, so it's not just our experiences. How can so many people who have experienced narcissistic abuse be mistaken or suffer from the same condition? These people are victims of a particular kind of abuse and manipulation. They don't come from random backgrounds. How then can this be written off as untrue? I was worried when I first learned about this alleged condition. Why? Since I am aware of what occurs in therapeutic settings. Narcissistic abuse survivors will be disregarded, labeled unstable, or charged with making up their stories. However, what about what I have seen? What about other people's testimonies? Are they expected to be insane as well? This will simply make survivors feel even more alone, which is a terrible result. I began to comprehend the fundamental cause of this dismissal. Why isn't there a more thorough investigation? I kept asking myself. In actuality, there is a plan to minimize the severity of narcissistic abuse and to stifle awareness. Everyone is using words like narcissist more and more these days, and that's precisely what some powers don't want. And I can't elaborate on who I mean when I say they. Over time, there has been a growing movement to label typical human behaviors and illnesses as disorders. Examining the history of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, reveals that many illnesses that were once classified as disorders are now seen differently. Consider autism spectrum disorder as an example. Previously classified as a mental disease, it is now recognized as neurodivergence, which is merely an alternative perspective on the world. This also holds true for what some refer to as demon face syndrome. It is a real phenomenon rather than a mental disorder. Those in charge decided to take the simple option of labeling it and further traumatizing the survivors rather than undertaking more in-depth investigation to understand the complexities. It may surprise you to learn that many victims of narcissistic abuse are misdiagnosed with borderline personality disorder, BPD, in therapy. Why? Because they display behaviors that don't easily fit into the clinician's knowledge, emotional instability, perplexity, and a high sensitivity to rejection. The outcome? One another incorrect diagnosis. Nonetheless, validation can be a paradoxical advantage of the demon face syndrome moniker. Even though it seems weird, at least it acknowledges that the dead, hungry eyes you saw are genuine. Yes, you have witnessed these individuals' reptile characteristics. They are acknowledging that something is wrong, even though they won't say it's real in the conventional sense. Sometimes people are able to see behind the surface of the person they are interacting with. Even though it's a small victory, it's a victory. The fact that what you witnessed was true gives you peace. You should feel more at ease knowing that you made the proper choice in leaving someone who is soulless. It is just untrue for those who claim that narcissism has a devil component that releases the person from accountability. Nobody is implying that they are not responsible. The narcissist is the one who consistently takes the destructive route, even though evil influences may have an impact on their behavior. They expose themselves to those evil forces by their decisions. According to neuroscience, transformation is feasible as long as the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain in charge of decision-making, emotion regulation, and impulse control, is in good working order. Everyone is affected by this, including narcissists. They choose to act in particular ways because it suits them, rather than just responding on the spur of the moment. They intentionally choose to act out, manipulate, or show anger because it enables them to achieve their goals. Narcissists frequently choose the easiest route, which adds to their evil, gloomy personality. Consistently aligning oneself with negative or malignant forces leads to the eventual embodiment of such forces. In severe situations, individuals are unable to conceal it any longer, and it begins to show physically. When their actual nature is exposed, their looks may morph as they become unhinged. What do you think about demon face syndrome then? What effects do you believe it has on people? Please share your opinions and any personal stories you may have in the comments section below. This subject makes me think of my grandfather when I reflect on my own life. He tended to speak aloud to himself, as though he were having a lengthy conversation with an absent person. He would even chuckle. It might have appeared to be a mental health problem to others, but I knew better. I was aware that he engaged in sinister activities. He freely told me how he used spells to split apart couples, as I've already explained. He demonstrated the entire procedure for me, including the words and the supplies. He taught me, but I never did them. He abruptly stopped talking to me and refused to even look at me after I revealed his secret and what he had showed me. I had seen and heard too much about him to disregard my family's fears. His home was rumored to be haunted by evil spirits, which added to the strangeness. Despite my desire to deny everything, I was unable to ignore what I had seen. The reality is that these evil forces do exist, but I'll keep that tale for another time. Learning about spirits like Lilith and Jezebel connected the dots for me. Even though these names come from Christian teachings, the common thread is evil. I truly believe that narcissists open themselves up to these forces. With that said, I want to thank you for staying with me through this episode. If you found this conversation valuable, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new here or haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Also, feel free to share this video with someone who might need to hear this message. I appreciate you all, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, keep healing, stay strong, and never stop seeking the truth.